Did you know that the most powerful man of the 16th century did not rule from Europe, but from East? He was a poet with a sword, a conqueror who quoted law, and an emperor whose name echoed across continents. They called him Suleiman the Magnificent. Welcome to my channel. This is the story of Suleiman the Magnificent. Chapter 1. The son of a sultan. In the heart of Istanbul, in a palace filled with gold, lived a boy who would change history. Born in 1494, the only son of Selim I, the boy's name was Suleiman. History remembers his father as Bloody Baba, a ruthless ruler who carved empires with fire and blood. But young Suleiman didn't learn the arts of war or bloodshed. No, his tutors were books, not swords. He studied geometry, philosophy, and Persian poetry. History remembers him as the son of Bloody Baba, but he walked a different path. When Suleiman turned 26, destiny called. His father Selim had become obsessed with Mecca and died on the pilgrimage there. And now the crown of an empire rested on Suleiman's head, an empire that stretched from Mecca to the gates of Vienna, from the edge of Arabia to the heart of Europe. It was the Ottoman Empire, and it was his by right. But Suleiman wasn't content with just being an inheritor of an empire. He wanted to be remembered as Suleiman, the magnificent conqueror. He looked west. First, Belgrade fell, then Rhodes, the seat of the Knights of St. John, was taken, and then Hungary trembled before his armies. On August 29, 1526, the Kingdom of Hungary faced their doom. It was a hot summer day. Louis II, King of Hungary, stood on the bank of the river Danube, watching the Ottoman army. In the distance, it was a sea of turbans and as the Ottomans approached, Louis retreated, but disaster struck. His army, exhausted and thirsty, chose the wrong path. They marched into a marsh. When they finally reached the battlefield, it was too late. Suleiman unleashed hell. Cannons boomed. Horsemen charged. By 3 p.m., the Kingdom of Hungary ceased to exist. It was shattered in a single afternoon. The Danube trembled under the hooves of Ottoman cavalry. Across Europe, people knew his name and dreaded it. Yet this warrior emperor was not satisfied with just conquest. Chapter 2. Lawgiver of the Empire. Conquest was the spice, but governance was the main course of an empire. Suleiman was not just a conqueror. He was a builder, a lawgiver, and he was brilliant. His mind saw connections that others missed. He reorganized the military, the civil service, even the police force. He collected taxes more efficiently. His spies watched over the empire, making sure everyone paid their dues. But his greatest contribution was a new set of laws. He combined Ottoman customs, Islamic Sharia, and even some European ideas to make a legal code, a single book of laws that applied to everyone in his empire, Christian, Muslim, Jew, or whatever faith. In practice, it was perfect. Judges across the empire could now make fair decisions based on this one elegant code. While Europe burned in religious wars and killed each other in the name of God, Suleiman ensured peace in his vast empire. It was during his rule that Paris blossomed into a center of art and culture. Brilliant scientists like Copernicus observed the stars in its observatory and produced some of humanity's first accurate maps. In the halls of Suleiman's palaces, great poets like Lami wrote to their beloved Kanuni. They called him Kanuni, the lawgiver. But few knew the private face of the emperor. Most nights, the emperor broke all traditions and stayed up writing poems and playing music with one woman. This woman was not a princess. She was Roxolana, a slave girl from the shores of the Black Sea. Her family sold her off, but she never forgot them. One of the last things she did with her earnings was to buy her family's freedom. That same year, she entered the palace as a slave, a small fish in a pond full of women. She caught the eye of the emperor. They say that Suleiman loved her fiery spirit and sharp wit. Most nights, the emperor broke all traditions and stayed up writing poems and playing music with her alone. Before long, Roxolana moved from the slave quarters to the royal chambers. There were 3 rules in the Ottoman palace. The sultan's wife must be veiled, loyal, and obedient. Roxolana chucked all 3. She uncovered her face, challenged rival wives, and even gave orders to the sultan's mother, a woman who usually ran the harem. She defied all conventions. Suleiman loved her just the same. The couple had 6 children, but their happiness had rivals. The sultan's mother and the powerful viziers plotted against Rox. Yet through it all, Suleiman stood by her side. He made her his consort and gave her a new name, Hurrem Sultan, meaning forgiven. He forgave her for her past and made her his partner in ruling the empire. Today, their letters are the stuff of romance novels. These verses were written by the most powerful man in the world to a woman who once had no name. Chapter 4. The Architect's Empire. Suleiman ruled from the heart of Istanbul. It was a city of mosques, palaces, and sprawling gardens. But for Suleiman, Istanbul was not enough. He dreamed of building a golden city, a capital that would be the jewel of the world. He summoned Mimar Sinan, a former slave turned architect, a man with the gift of shaping stone and air. Under the master builder's hand, Istanbul shimmered with new life. Mosques with elegant domes, majestic bridges and aqueducts, supplying fresh water to every home. All these wonders were born. The Sultan's court overflowed with artists and poets, and the Sultan joined them. He designed buildings himself, and sometimes even laid the first stones of a project. His favorite architectural style came to be known as Safir, meaning simple and elegant. It wasn't just an empire, it was a civilization. Chapter 5. The Siege of Vienna. As Suleiman's empire grew, so did his ambitions. Many rulers before him had tried and failed, but Suleiman dreamed of reaching the very heart of Europe, Vienna. From 1529 to 1530, he laid siege to the Austrian capital. His army stretched 4 miles, 120,000 soldiers, 300 elephants, 400 cannons. When the Ottomans arrived outside Vienna, the city held its breath. Few thought they could stop the Sultan's advance. But something unexpected happened. The ground turned thick, sucking mud. The massive Ottoman army got stuck. Their supplies dwindled. The hungry soldiers started looting nearby villages. By the time they returned to the siege, the Viennese had prepared. The city's stout walls absorbed the Ottoman cannon fire. Day after day, Suleiman's men attacked and failed. Finally, the Sultan gave the order to retreat. He had not failed. He had warned. Chapter 6. A Death on the March. Suleiman continued to rule with the same energy for decades, but he always wanted more. At 71, he decided to march into Hungary again. His body didn't agree, but his spirit did. He beat the drums, raised the tents, and led his army into the unknown. Deep in his heart, he knew this would be his last campaign. He rode through deserts and mountains, all the way to the banks of the river Danube. And there, under the open sky, Suleiman the Magnificent died. His heart beat through deserts and mountains, all the way to Hungary. His body was embalmed, hidden for weeks, and finally buried in his... The rumor was that his counselors wanted to hide his death from his son, just as they had done for Suleiman all those years ago. Even in death, the invincible emperor left everyone guessing. He was buried next to his beloved Roxolana, the woman who once had no name, in a tomb made of white marble, a fitting resting place for the most powerful man of his age, a man who shaped the world between East and West, a warrior, a lawgiver, an architect of civilizations, a lover, a man of many names, but one magnificent.